Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Rwagnation Grand Prix here in Hungary. I'm Ben Raggy McConnell, and welcoming back to the commentator's booth one more time is Mr. King Kodiak. How you doing?
Hungary is right. I am raring and ravaging, ready to go for Hungaroring. Such an amazing track this one is, generated some amazing results over the years. 1997, Damon Hill having the audacity to nearly win in an Arrows, leading for most of the race, and to be denied in the final few laps by Hydronically. Hungaroring is one of these tracks that just caters to those that maybe don't quite have the pace of the front runners. Monaco is another prime example. Hungary, on the outset, doesn't look like it should, but it's one of these tracks that is just really just generates very interesting results, and I can't wait.
So, just looking at the driver's standings, it is Hyperz that is currently leading ahead of Nicolas. But when it comes to the constructors, it is actually quite spread out. It is Mercedes who are on 235, Haas are on 182, and Racing Point are 160. Now, the bit that is important to note is we have a new driver, joining in the Racing Point team. It is Camille, or CRG Come On, as he's more known. But he is racing here today. This is a very difficult track. This is a track where overtaking is so hard to do. Realistically, you're talking about the home straight. In fact, you're going to see the hot zones right now from eSportWorks hotspots, as here is turn one. We saw Yonti, Yolta, and Just Chillin' having a scrap going in towards turn one. It was, in fact, Yolta trying to find the inside. There was contact between them, and that's what's really worked out badly for Yolta. It also didn't help out Just Chillin', and now Brownie and Lemon had a little scrap going through here in turns 2 and 4. And you can see how close they are, wheel to wheel, throughout the entirety of it. Brownie going right onto the outside. There's Lemon trying to hold it true, and it's how they kept this going, and they didn't. There's Brownie off into the wall. But Hyperz is going to give us the hot lap rundown now for the first time in one of these little hype videos, and I'm looking forward to it. Hyperz then on the home straight with the wing wide open will be charging up towards turn 1, braking around about the 75-meter area, and get yourself down into gear 2. Get the exit of Dreams. You're going to a short shift up to gear 3 and get your wing wide open again as you charge up towards turn 2. Again, brake at the 50-meter board, but get your gears right down to gear 3. Stay tight to the inside because you need to make sure that you get the exit through here on the right, as it just gets very tight knitted throughout the remainder of this track. So it's a quick left-hander. Don't run wide. Don't touch the curb too hard on the inside, otherwise you will find death, and only death. As you go now on the right-hander, don't touch the curb on the inside again. Brake just as you get to the curb on the left-hand side, and you can ride the second curb quite hard there through that chicane. Run over onto the right, and make sure you get the left quite tight. Again, don't run wide here because you can very easily invalidate, especially if you touch the curb just a bit too hard, and send yourself off as you got a quick right-hander just to carry through. Again, don't run wide. Don't touch the wall. You will definitely die if you do. Brake when you get to the curb. Get yourself down to gear 3. And these corners just come in such quick succession. You can't afford to make any mistakes. Every line you make is so crucial. And here we go now into the final corner. It's a long sweeping right-hander, but arguably the most important corner, because this is the home straight where you will see majority of the overtakes happen as we get now into the Grand Prix itself. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. Are you ready? Are you strapped in, Mr. Kodiak? Do you know what's coming next? It's a trick question because you know.
It's a bit of a pattern. Right, 1, 2, 3. I feel like such a broken record, always choosing Hyperz and Longe, but they are the championship, front runners. So it'd be silly not to. But we don't know what what was his name? I know it's pronounced as Camille. That's easier to say than come on, I think.
Yeah.
So we don't know what he's like. I mean, the CRG group, Comrade Racing Group, are a very decent organisation. So we don't know. He may well be storming through the field for all we know. But sticking with their established names, Hyperz, Longe, you can almost pick one out of a hat for Hungary. Like I was saying earlier, it's a track that generates some very odd goings on. Almost everybody has come out. Everybody has come out of the hard tires, with the exception of some idiot who has actually dropped out of the session. I don't know if he's reappeared yet.
Yeah, he has returned. Yeah.
Oh, he has returned. So, and everyone was out really quick, I noticed. So the sky also looks a little cloudy. If this somebody has left again. If this is rainy, oh my! there's going to be some clinching moments because those barriers look like they're far away, but when this place gets slippery,
yeah, they're not far away enough.
No. Speaking of Camilla, I've been watching him, and unfortunately, just on the exit of turn 11, he's invalidated. That was a great shame. Infamous first one, but well, that was actually going to be my number 3. Was Military Infamous, but to mix it up, I'm going to say Infamous, Longe, Hyperz. Hyperz is my boy. Don't get me wrong, but what do I know? I've been wrong. I don't think I've actually got it right all season so far. So Infamous, Longe, Hyperz. That's where I'm going.
But that's 3-2-1, right?
No, 1-2-3.
Oh, Infamous P1. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, mix it up. Why not? I mean, put Kobajini up there. Yeah,
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's a hard one to
I'm going to go, yeah, Infamous 1. What's some idiot doing? Sit still, boy.
He's trying his best.
Infamous 1, Crow 2, Hyperz 3.
Now, I kind of get what you're saying. And now, Infamous is the only area where I'm a little bit unsure on. I have seen Hyperz pace here. He's actually faster than Nicolas around this track, believe it or not. Although, this is a track where I have seen Nicolas do obscene things on this circuit. I once saw him go from so far back on the circuit, in the running towards turn 1, he had that good a run off the start. He actually managed to jump 8 places in just that one start. It was insane. And then obviously coming into turn 1, he carried it through as well and managed to then go on to then get the race win. But Hyperz is notoriously great at this track. I'm actually going to have to back him. I think he is going to secure that P1. I do think that Nicolas will get the P2. I actually think Camille, if he can keep it in check, keep the lap perfect, I think P3 is on there for him. Without Pressionlider here today, I think he's going to be the P4 contender. And again, it's, you know, Infinite Pressionlider can be in the top 3 easily and has done in the past. It's just, you have to be here to get that.
I did notice Mr. Pressionlider was not here. Oh, well, yeah, they are allowed.
He's doing the 24-hour, is what he's doing, the 24-hour Nürburgring. Nordschleife.
Nutter.
Yes.
I don't... I'm sorry, I'm going to put it out there. I don't get the fascination. That's slightly unfair. I get the fascination with Nords. I do. But I would never, ever, 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 ever want to try something like that. Extended, endurance racing at Nords. I've commentated endurance racing at Nords. I've done 2.5 hours at Nords. That was hard enough. I would never. I can't survive a lap at Nords ever. I think I've written my name on every single barrier that exists. I don't get it. But I mean, best of luck to all competitors going on at Nordschleife at the moment. Fair play to them for giving it a good shout. Yeah, like you say, you could almost pick names out of a hat for here. We want to talk about Longe's tyre management. Was it Silverstone when he took his tyres miles too far? Yeah, it was, because Hyperz did that banzai in the final corner, didn't he, at Vale?
Yeah.
I mean, do we want to talk about that? I mean, damn, I haven't got over that even now. And how many weeks ago was that?
2, I think.
3 weeks ago, something like that?
Yeah.
You can never discount, unless they get mullered in the first corner, which, yeah, like you say, that's a long run from the start down to turn 1, and it's the only it's the only heavy braking zone there is, because it's a very technical track, this. I'm just looking skywards. I wouldn't be surprised if it is going to be slippery.
Yeah, maybe for the race, but I mean, right now, the fact that everybody's on the hards, the fact that we're on the hards makes me think that we're not going to see any rain in this qualifying session, as much as it would really chuck things in. But there's Hyperz showing why I was saying a 1:16.452. The thing I find really frustrating is they're chucking these lap times in like it's nothing on the hardest compound tire, right? On the softest tire, I still can't do these times. Like, this is ridiculous. How are these guys this quick, this consistent? I want to see Camille get that lap time in. He's obviously invalidated his first. He's currently going again. But bear in mind, it is on the hards. It doesn't matter too much. It's all about when you get on those medium tires, because that's what they're going to go for. Mediums to hards is the strategy to attack with here. You can't afford really to go on anything otherwise. If you go on the softs, you're dead. Your tires just get absolutely destroyed, and you're going to turn into Lewis Hamilton constantly on the radio to your engineer saying, please get me off these tires. And it doesn't work out for you. Now, Hyperz could very much fill that space in, but he knows better than that, and he will be going mediums. And I think he will get that P1.
Oh, Crow. As I just jumped to Longe, he just had a massive wobble coming out of that 6, 7, 8, 9 complex. Those hards, as always, are needing several laps. That's 4 laps he's done on those tyres. Same with Pan Pernick, actually. We can't discount him because, wow, hasn't he come on the last couple of races?
Yeah, really has.
He did an absolutely really surprised us last week, didn't he?
Well, he smashed out his podium, the first one he's had in his Rwagnation career, and right now he's already looking set to be potentially starting in a similar position. Never mind, that's the grass. He almost sent it into the wall, but well held to avoid any damage there, and retiring the race there would have been horrible. That was definitely not what he would have wanted. Medium's definitely the tyre to go for.
Look at number 2.
Oh, hello. Camille. There it is. Yeah.
Well, welcome aboard. Damn.
Yeah.
And that's only on 2 laps on those. Yeah, that's only on 2 laps on those tyres as well. Now, that is his second at least run.
Yeah.
He did invalidate. I didn't see him hit anything, but he did do a couple of laps and then come in. We're seeing a few people consider the mediums now. Hyperz, Infamous, and Yanab. Looking at the medium tyres, Yanab's actually come out on the medium tyres.
It's a bit too early.
Somebody is actually now on track. He's finished having an argument with his ISP.
Yeah.
He's now come out. Good lad.
He's connecting to us from America, though, so there's a slight. Yep, and he's gone again.
He's gone again. Commentators.
You had to jinx it.
Yeah, I'll take that. That was on me. Does he live in America then, or was he on holiday?
No, he lives in America.
I never knew that, actually.
Yenab is the first, like you said, out on the mediums and actually doing a hot lap. Now, personally, this is too early. You don't want to be doing a hot lap on the medium tyres, especially if you're going to start the race on those mediums. They're just going to be destroyed. And even if you can manage to get 2 laps in on them and still do some decent lap times on it, the track is going to be so much grippier later. When it evolves and becomes that bit extra, you will get so many more tenths out of it, and you'll be able to secure that maybe 1 or 2 more positions, maybe even more than that, if you start to have a really good run. But yeah, P18, no lap on the board, medium tyres on the car. Hopefully we should see in this being an immediate P1/P2 area.
I'm assuming, I haven't really seen Yanab, I haven't watched him on track tonight. I think, or I assume at least, that he's struggled with those hards, because, I mean, even the likes of Nicolas, who was wiggling around like mad on those hard tyres, and even on the mediums, Yanab's having to give it a fair old fistful of opposite lock, coming out of 13 into 14. Yanab, that was a clenching moment for you, and it is indeed P1, but that realistically should be P1 by, what would you say, half a second or so? Half to 6/10?
Yeah, minimum, really. I mean, you're definitely looking at a very low 16 minimum, high 15. But yeah, can't do it. 1:16.3. Again, it's down to the same scenario. I have seen from the weatherman, by the way, that we are going to be seeing a dry race as well as qualifying session. It's just going to be cloudy. So the tyre strategies are absolutely crucial here. So it's not like they've just gone for mediums thinking, well, maybe it's going to rain later on in the race. He's actually just trying to deliver it now, and it's just too early. It's not working for him.
He's going to be burning up the medium. So a lot of people are considering the medium tyres now. So we're actually getting... This has actually been quite rare in the Rwagnation League. We actually have a lull in the qualifying. When was the last time? I don't know. Have we had this all season yet?
Well, we have it for a brief moment, as the chat will remind me when I say it in about a minute and a half's time. We do have it for a very, very short space of time, but I think the only time we had a lull was when we had a rainy qualifying session, which I think was me and Amkasa. Or it might have been, was it me and you, or was it me and Amkasa? I can't remember, but it was a very wet qualifying.
I would assume it wasn't me because I can't remember it, but then I can barely remember this morning. It's been a long, long day. I will say I am somehow functioning on 2 hours sleep.
Wow.
Don't know how. Don't ask. If I knew the secret, I would sell it and make a fortune. All I say is I am staring very wantingly at my tub of jelly beans next to me. So that is my that's my hype fuel for the night. As Yonti comes, brings the house back in, 117.0 for him, 8th position. There's not many people. Only Yalta is the only car on track. Well, nice one, Yalta.
Yeah, that was the timing of that was perfect. As soon as I came back to see his car, I just bump in the wall and he's gone. Now, he has actually been driving in the GT3 car on iRacing, so that would kind of explain why he's struggling with throttle. These cars are hard to drive when you've just come out of the GT3s, where you can plant it almost all the time, and this is, you know, a car that does not let you do that whatsoever. So, yeah, P9, still solid time, yet to get on the board with the mediums, but I'm going to say it is the calm before the storm, as all the drivers are pretty much in the pits, just thinking about that last run that they're going to do. What are they going to use? What tires are they going to go for? Is it going to be medium? And how many laps do you want to attempt to do in your run? If you come out now, you're pretty much looking at doing 2 runs. If you come out in about a minute and a half's time, then you're looking at about doing 1.
Zones is the lead car out there at the moment. He's in 5th, 16.8 on the board. Not bad whatsoever. Half a tenth ahead of Panpernik. So a decent effort for the McLaren. He's been chased by, I believe that is Infamous. So again, the expectation on his shoulders as well. But what a... Even if I've forgotten his name again. What is it? Camille?
Camille, yeah.
Camille. I mean no just disrespect. I'm just terrible at remembering things.
It happens, honestly. Don't worry.
But even if he bins it in the first lap, he's already made a big statement of intent, hasn't he? Well, who's that? He's got an alpha right up his chap. Oh, some idiot. Some idiot is trying to get some racing practice in. Now, that's not ideal, must add. And also some idiot seems to have had DRS failure. Everybody is now on the medium tyres. But yeah, Camille just banging in an absolutely cracking lap. We've lost some idiot once again.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah, that's an absolutely belting lap against, well, we already know the established names here. He's right in between Hyperz and Infamous. Even if we, well, it would be a little unfair to disregard Yenab's lap, but his was the only one, I believe, his is the only one set on the mediums at the moment. Yes, his is the only time set on the mediums. Everyone else has set their times on the hard until, obviously, they complete these time laps. So, what a cracking entrance into the Rwagnation League.
He's really showing dominance here, and I'm loving it. I'm enjoying every second of it. We are seeing, I think it's going to be Zones being the next driver up to finish a fast hot lap with 2.5 minutes to go. Means that there will definitely be enough time for him to do another run if he's not happy with his time. And here he comes in through the final corner, wing wide open again, going to come across the line, and he will go P1. It is a 1:16.0. That was more the time that I was hoping that we would have seen from Yenab. Yeah, exactly. That is more the times we're seeing.
Wow, Longo right behind him. Yeah, Longo right behind him as well, the 15.9. And I would assume Camille invalidated that because he's still on 16.5. Where's Hyperz? Hasn't crossed the line yet. He is coming down through turn 11. He's got a Toro Rosso's Bohemos that's already ahead of him. Oh, crikey. I mean, I know you have to use every inch of the track to get the best out of it, you know, especially with the shorter laps. But, oh, crikey, they don't half make me wince when they just go to, you know, a quarter of the tyre width away from invalidating it. But that, again, just shows how good these guys are. You know, absolutely amazing. Here comes Hyperz.
Boom. Oh, wow. A 1:15.425 is just insane. How has he done that? And Panpernik's right there as well, though. He's not that far away when it comes to these lap times. A 1:16.004 puts in P4. And Nicolas Longe, 1:15.937, he's kind of struggling.
Not only has Hyperz set the bar, he's destroyed it. Yeah. In his own, in his own way. Panpernik has retired the car. He's decided that is as best as he's going to do, and it is a stonker. Don't get me wrong. Now, Longe is really been giving himself the best possible start to the lap. I think that's Brownie right behind him. No, well, Brownie is behind him, but not the guy I was thinking of. Must be Yelta then. Yes, Yelta got a little bit put out of sorts, but they've still got 40 seconds to start the next lap. Brownie just set a time, beg your pardon, 16.3, goes into 6th position, but he is continuing on, is he? No, he's backed off, I think. Yep, he's backed off. He will do no more, but Hyperz, good grief, when we think the standard has been set, Hyperz happens.
It's crazy. I don't know how he keeps doing this. Every time I see him just chuck a lap time on the board, he just seems to smash it even more. And that kind of explains why the driver standings is just so different. You know, it's so spread out now. Hyperz is building up quite a lead among these drivers, and he's starting to establish exactly who he is, what he's capable of. As we've got Cappuccini coming up to the line. Where's it going to be? He does improve. It's a P16. So we'll see if he can bring that further forward. Let maybe the strategy will work out for him later. Here comes a Haas driver. It is Yonti. That is a 1:16.179, and I believe that is get owned ahead of Infamous, who's also on another flyer. May potentially actually take pole position. Has he done enough? This is the last ditch attempt for him, and it isn't enough. He does improve, but it's just not quite enough to beat Hyperz.
Longe didn't improve either. So where's our newcomer? He's already been shuffled down to 12th. Whoa, he was wide on a final turn, but dethrones the mighty Crow with a 15.731, less than a tenth behind Infamous. All bets are off. Come on, bring it on, gentlemen.
I don't even think I put Camille in the top 3 initially, and now he's just making it look good. This is so well off for him. Yenab gets P9, but gets knocked down as Dennis goes into P8. We have the Williams guys coming across now. I think this is going to be just chilling. Coming to the line. It is. It's 3 laps done. He did actually go way faster. He was a 16.4, but he invalidated, so he's just ruined his tyres.
Yeah, it means nothing. Yeah. I mean, again, once again, I got it completely wrong because I went Infamous, Hyperz, Crow. So I got it all wrong. But wow. But I did say, we don't know where Camille is going to fall in this particular lineup. Now we start to have an idea. However, one lap pace is one thing. Keeping it consistent, all different kettle of fish.
Yeah, especially on a track like this where the tyre wear is going to be really quite high, and managing your tyre temperatures is also quite a problem. And again, you're going to be stuck behind people. You're going to want to pass. It's going to be very tough. But here's your rundown at the end of the qualifying session. It is Hyperz who sets the fastest lap and gets pole position with a 1:15.425. Infamous there in P2. He is just off there by 2/10 or a little bit over. And then you got Camille in P3. Unsurprisingly, he's done such a good job, but it's racing point 3.4. We haven't seen that ever. This is so good for them. Nicolas Longe, P4. Pampernik, P5. Yolta, P6. Zones, P7. Dennis, P8. Buemels, P9. Yenab rounding out the top 10 with Yonti getting best of the rest. And our top 3 prediction was not bad. Not bad. I put Nicolas P2 and Camille P3. So I got P1 and P3 bang on. P2 was the bit that I didn't get right. I honestly thought Nicolas was going to be able to just edge it out.
What do we know, eh?
Yeah, exactly. It's really shown it, hasn't it?
I will take pride in the fact that I get my predictions wrong. They generally are. So, yeah, looking forward to this. Another news, F1 2020 has been announced.
It has. And you can have an 11th team in the career.
I heard
you can
that.
Choose all these different things, like who your engine maker is going to be, any sponsors. Oh, I'm actually excited. I'm actually excited.
Indeed.
Right, here we go then. This is the formation lap for the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Hungary. And for the final time in this one, I'm going to ask you, what is your end race 1, 2, 3 prediction?
Oh, you evil man.
I mean, I can go first if you want me to.
You know what? I'm going to stick with Infamous. I'm going to stick with Infamous on this one.
Okay.
Take him for the win. Same as I'm going to keep my top 3: Infamous, Hyperz, Longe. I'm going to go that. I think that was the top 3 I chose. No, sorry, 2 and 3 was the other way around. Longe, Hyperz. So I put Hyperz 3, I think.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
See, that's how bad my memory is. I can't even remember my own predictions. So yeah, I'm going to give Infamous the. I'm not going to say anyone's going to bin it per se. Again, no disrespect. No disrespect to the other 16 drivers in the field either. But it must be really disheartening for them to, it's almost, us and them kind of thing. Is the top 3 what would now, indications seem to be the top 4 with Camille, joining the party and rocking it straight away. Absolutely fair play. Even if you die in turn 1, sir, massive respect to you for qualifying 3rd. It must be very disheartening for everybody else just to see the same names disappear off into the distance and think, what can I do?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, You would say that, like, if you looked at it towards the beginning of the season, right? But as the season's got on, we're seeing drivers that we didn't think have this level of pace start to have this level of pace. Pan Pernick being a prime example. Smashed it last week, getting the P3. He's qualified again here in P5, and who knows where he would finish up at the end of this Grand Prix. This is one of those sort of Grand Prix where it comes down to that strategy. If you pit at the right time, you get the right in lap, you get the right exit lap, it's going to be the deal breaker, really, and it could genuinely make the difference between who gets P1, who gets P2, and who gets P3. But it's going to be difficult because Racing Point 3-4 will mean that it's going to be very hard to coordinate that and make sure that it is done correctly. But the lights are on now. It's going to be Hyperz at the front of the grid, and he needs a start of dreams, and he's going to need it now. And off he goes. Has Infamous going to get that line as well down the inside? He has the better run towards it. Nicolas is usually the one to watch when it comes to these starts, and this time it's not enough. It's actually Camille who's got the better run, but he's going to hit on the outside of both of these drivers as Infamous is trying to get on the inside. Hyperz again, nothing changes just yet. Nicolas is still there alongside of his teammate. There's a lot of shuffling further down the field as here comes Camille down the inside of Infamous. Infamous is going to be hung out, although he has the better line through the right-hander. It's just as long as he can hold it, and he cannot. And this is going to be Nicolas now in front of his teammate. They're going to have to let him by. And now Nicolas gains a position, but top marks for effort for Camille.
Absolutely, he's not afraid to get his elbows away. Longe getting the Ken block effect going on. Yeah, Infamous didn't have such a great run through the end of Sector 1, and that was basically just pitched the Haas into the side of the Racing Point, but on they go. I think everybody has managed to survive. Just double check the back of the grid. Well, Samidia unfortunately never started. I think everybody has managed to make it through fairly unscared. No, Copy in the Williams. He's wing.
Oh!
Is designed. Oh, go on.
I don't know what exactly happened. There was a very slow moment between, I think it was Bottas Gang and Danico, where they were going really slow on the track. Dennis was caught out by it, managed to somehow weave in between them and dodge all carnage. But he does sit P14. He is up places despite... No, he's not. He's down places. He's down 6. He was showing that he's claimed a position was what he was showing. He's not the biggest loser, though. It's actually Zones, who's lost 10 places. I don't know exactly what happened to him. I didn't see it.
Yalta had a pretty good start, though. He managed to dethrone Pan Pernick before they got into turn 1. So he now sits 5th position behind the 2 Racing Points and, of course, Infamous and Hyperz. Long Gauge using a bit of an alternate line coming through turn 2. And Infamous is looking to give Hyperz looking to keep the pressure on. Bit of a gap forming between Infamous and Longe now. So he doesn't really want to be falling off the back of the top 2 because it doesn't look like Camilla is going to be giving him any leeway, teammate or not. He's already proven he can get his elbows out. Then you've got Yalta, Pan Pernick, most of the field are still in very short succession. Also, keep an eye on Brownie. Starting on the hard tyres, he's still really mixing it in there in 8th position in the Renault. He's had a pretty decent start as well. Bit of a mixture of hard and medium starters in the back 10 for reasons only known to themselves. It looks like Copy was the only victim of turn 1. He's had to pit. He's on the medium tyres. Oh, crikey, he's committing to a 2-stop. Buemos is having some lag trouble as well in 7th position. That's not going to be helping him. Or indeed Brownie. Looks like Yenab is stuck a little bit behind the Renault as well. Hyperz, of course, getting the next fastest lap on the board. Now Longe has ditched his teammate a little, well, comparatively speaking, and is now getting back on Infamous's case. That's all going to be very nip and tuck, isn't it? For quite a while. And equally, Yalta, Pan Pernick and Buemos, despite his lag issues, are staying right in the fight. I did say that this race could really generate some interesting results, and this is going to go on for a while, I think. Who is going to blink first?
Well, exactly. That's the problem. It's going to come down to that strategy. Who is going to do exactly that? Blink first, chuck on the tyres, and whether they go for the 2-star strategy is potentially an option. I highly doubt they will do that because, again, those softs will just melt on this track. Even with the cloud coming over, it's just not going to be enough for them. The only way that anybody could do anything other than mediums to hards is if, and that's a big if it rains. And weather reports suggest it's not going to happen. We're actually seeing Yenab on the back of Brownie here. The gap between Brownie and Buemos is over a second. DRS has been enabled this lap. Yenab almost completely lost the car then. That was a very good catch, very well held, but that's going to not help him when it comes to the gap. Although DRS being somehow actually still closing in. Even though he lost the car there, he's still reeling him in.
I think Brownie's just being a little cautious on those hard tyres at the moment. They won't be. Oh, nicely held, Brownie, around the final turn. Yeah, they won't be up to temperature there. They'll get there around about kind of lap 5 or so. Here comes Janab. Oh, he went inside of the inside of Brownie. The Renault defending the inside line, and Janab's like, nope, I'm having this. Deal with it. I'm through into 8th position. Here goes JC and Kai Bettini having a fight for 14th position. But still, that top block of 7 all in. Panponic is in danger of falling out of DRS range. But they're still all within that very short span. So absolutely brilliant stuff. And like you've already said, this is not an easy track at all. This is a track that just attacks you as much as you try and attack it. It's not a Monza where you can not so much switch off, but you'll appreciate this as someone that drives as well. There's some tracks you don't have to kind of attack as much mentally. Yeah, this isn't one of them. You've got to be alert all the time.
Yeah, exactly. You turn your brain off for even a split second, it will kill you. It will not hesitate to chuck you off the track, straight into a wall, and just leave your car there. And again, as you're going around it, you're constantly receptive to all of the senses that you can get. Whether it's going to be your brakes are just not applied too much, you need to apply a little bit more, get that extra bit of rotation in there, or whatever it is you need to do. This is a track that demands that all the time. The only way you can get it is on the home straight, and that's if you're not in a DRS battle with somebody, because even then you're still locked on your mirrors, watching out to see if anybody's going to send it. And currently we're not seeing anybody in the top 4 change position. Nicolas has dropped off the gap quite a considerable amount. It's a 1.3, 1.2 now between him and Infamous. Infamous is 0.4 behind Hyperz, and I think you're actually looking pretty good when it comes to this prediction.
We will see. A little early to be thinking that. Zones has lost his front wing. He's just changed that one. Bottas gang as well has been through the pits. So the back 3, again, sadly somebody was not with us, so not including him. Ooh, now Crow is falling out of DRS range. So no sooner did I say it, that this top pack is now beginning to split up. Panpernic's fallen off the back of Yelta, and Yelta is actually not that far off the back of the Racing Point pair. So he's having a stormer. This is absolutely amazing. Again, no disrespect to Yelta at all, but we haven't really seen him so much be on the pace of the likes. Janab. Oh no, fallen all the way down to 13th. Did you not say not a lap ago to lose sight of things or switch your brain off for a second and chomp? And round he went. And you've got to feel a little bit for him, because that's one of those really slow spins, and you just think, and it feels like it goes on forever. Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're saying. The other problem you've got on this track is when you've had that spin, this is not a track that allows you to manage your tires very easily when it comes to tire temperatures. If you've lost the rear, you're going to be in 100 degrees almost guaranteed. And that's not something you want. Trust me, that is not something you want. On a circuit like this, you need all the temperatures to be pretty much optimal the whole time. Camille just mugged Longuet down towards turn 7. Between turns 5 and 6, Longuet had a slight, and I mean a slight, oversteer moment, and Camille just mugged him. What the hell was that?
Picked him up by his ankles.
Yeah, have some of that, and he's already starting to break away. That's nearly 6/10. Camille's broken. He's like, fine, I'm bored losing sight of the top 2. Get out of the way, I'm off. Yeah. Wow, that was absolutely incredible. I happened to be on board with Longuet at the time, and it was the merest of mistakes he made at turn 5. He may have been a little slow, because again, turn 5 is a little reminiscent, in my mind at least, to like turn 3 at Catalonia. It's quite a long comparatively in this track's terms. Right-hander that if you make a mistake, you can lose quite a bit of time if you sort of wander off the road a little bit. Camille just mugged him. That's absolutely amazing. No one mugs Nicolas Longuet. That's the other thing I'm absolutely stunned about. And Yelta is still right there as well. He's having a cracking race.
And again, coming down to penalties, which can happen, especially here in this left-hander. If you cut that a bit too hard, or maybe even go a bit too wide on the exit, that's a penalty almost guaranteed. You don't want that on this circuit. So penalties coming in later, I reckon, and Yelta could gain from this. However, he is the individual that I would rely on to be getting these penalties, honestly. He needs to stop it, 100%. But if I was to point a finger at anybody I think that's here right now that would get a penalty, he is in that range of being attacked for it, because he's just so hard to push. He pushes non-stop, and sometimes he pushes that little bit too far.
Yeah, but you say that. Longay lost the victory at Silverstone with his incredible tyre management because of penalties. And the last few races, we've started to see that creep in. Oh, again, Longay sliding, almost into the pit lane. He's going full Ken Block on this one. That's absolutely amazing.
Well, it's not doing wonders for his tyres, though, is it?
Also, how on earth is Hyperz maintaining a nearly full ERS battery? How is he doing it? And still getting fastest laps.
This is his track. This is the circuit you can rely on him for him to be so fast that no one can really compete. As Pampernick and Buemos are scrapping, actually, they've been really close to each other there. Buemos is stuck on the outside. He can't get anything back. Pampernick now in P6, trying to hold that down as Buemos is really quick, but the ERS levels are actually favoured towards Buemos, believe it or not.
Kybachini and JC side by side through exactly the same place. Turn 2, still side by side. Turn 3, the Red Bulls just... I know only just going to live to fight another day. That was very close between the two. Janab's at the back of, following his early spin, at the back of a bit of a train here. Who's he got in this? That's Brownie, Yonti, Ghetto, Danny, and he's the back car. Goodness me, that's going to be interesting to work through. So Brownie now falling off the back of the medium runners. Brownie starting on the hard. Whoops, as the Red Bull one's a bit too hard. I was on board with Dennis when he did that. Whoa, as Ghetto and Danny side by side coming through turn 12. Whoa, and now the Red Bull's trying to get involved. There's fighting everywhere. Now Infamous has decided to wiggle his big toe that a little bit more and put some more pressure on Hyperz. And maybe Hyperz is going to have to start using that battery of his.
I think we're going to need some fire extinguishers at bay because this is getting very hot. We may have a fire caused, as we can see the tow happening for Danny chasing after Get-On. He's not going to be able to get anything in turn 1, but there's another DRS zone. Get-On is going to have DRS as well. It's ultimately going to stay pretty much as is, but I am seeing Infamous now has actually started to reel in Hyperz quite considerably. 3/10 is the gap between the two of them, and I think it's more down to the fact that Hyperz is just charging his ERS. He's not actually pushing at all. If you look at the ERS difference between him and Infamous is literally half the battery that Hyperz is on. So he's fine. Hyperz can just go, oh, you're here? All right, I'll just turn it up. I'll run away. It's fine. I'll see you in a bit. And that's it. Done dusted. And my concerning issue is Camille is 2 seconds off of this battle. Nicolas is 1.2 off of Camille. I never thought I'd be saying this, but Nicolas looks really quite slow today.
Well, print that in the newspaper. That's you'll never see that headline said again. Looking at the front wing looks okay. I didn't see any impact on Nicolas at all so far. The Yelta is having an absolute belter. There's another headline for you. But yeah, Camille is stuck in no man's land there, isn't he? He's a couple of seconds off the top two, unless the top two start to really fight. And Hyperz has done exactly what you said he would do. Right, fine. I'll just turn this little dial up slightly and undo your hard work. Janab in the pits. Tad early, I'd have thought, to be switching from mediums to hards, but the hards will last 25 laps, I suppose. No front wing, and that is what he's gone for. I'd have thought the mediums would last a little longer than that, no?
Well, yeah, absolutely. It could again come down to strategy if he's gone for that undercut, maybe going for a couple of laps early just to try and get that's a position secured, get the tyres warmed up, so when these guys come out on those hards, he's going to be in a much more comfortable position. But I'm in a weird scenario right now. I'm looking at Yelta. He's right there on the back of Nicolas Longay. He had an opportunity to pass him when he was on the home straight with the DRS wing wide open. He decided to sit in 0 ERS and just sit behind him. Yeah, and this is... Hungary always surprises me. Every time we come to the circuit, there's always something that just really, just throws a spanner in the works and just makes it very different. And this is exactly what I'm seeing. With that battle for Brownie for P8 is still ongoing, and Nicolas is in. He must be feeling more confident on the hards than any other tyre, but he is not looking good on the mediums, that's for sure.
Nope, he's had enough of those. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see a bit of a flurry of pit stops in the next 1 or 2 laps. But also, I was looking at Hyperz, and he's broken DRS to Infamous. That will annoy the Haas driver somewhat, because he has been trying to push to maintain that gap. And Hyperz has obviously listened to the stream. He's listened to what you said.
Sorry, just went into the back of Kybachini. Almost sent Kai off in towards the wall. But in the end, no damage on either car, and Nicolas Longue is here on just chilling and already making that position look pretty easy to just take away. Up into P13. Again, waiting for everybody to pit, and if he can get that undercut work properly, he may actually resume position back up in P3. But it'll have to be a hell of an undercut.
Yeah, but he's got to have a compliant Kai Bicini. This could go horribly wrong. He's caught Kai at the wrong time because he's got nowhere to go. What's he going to try and banzai it into turn 11? Well, you can. It's a pretty dangerous move. Kai's not interested in letting Longue go.
Oh.
Nicely done. Longue knew that was his opportunity, his best chance, turn 11. Which is exactly why I said he wouldn't do it. So yeah, again, what do I know? And again, flurry of pit stops on the top. Hyperz has carried on. Yep. Infamous, Camille, Yelta, and Boemels, and Dennis as well have all come in. Where is Longue going to filter?
The other thing to think about is that by the time that Infamous decided he was going to pit, Hyperz was already outside of the DRS range now, so there was nothing that Infamous could really have done, and now he's just hoping that the undercut works out for him as JC is going for a move on Kai Bicini. He's got the inside run, and Kai's going to be left out high and dry. DRS and Toe is going to be available for JC onto the back of Yolta, but bear in mind, he still has to pit. They both still have to pit for JC and Kai, so expect them to drop down again later, but right now they're running in 11th and 12th.
Yeah, Jonty and Brownie having an argument for third position at the moment. They were, I think it was swapped round. I think Brownie was ahead of Jonty earlier. So they now swap round. Brownie's got to be careful. He's got a yellow fuel light on the dashboard. And panic. Oh, that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Where did he do that? That was 11. So exactly where you said. Yep. Precisely where you said that would happen. Hyperz is in, but I don't think he's going to have to... Oh, that was nearly speeding in the pit lane, sir. He won't have anything to worry about from there, will he? Panpernig has followed him in. You can expect Danny...
I think Hyperz will be out so far ahead of Infamous. Yeah, he is. Look at this. Right, so Infamous is here on the home straight. Hyperz is already on his way out. I think he's going to be... No, I might be wrong. It's going to be close. They're still going to be within DRS range. In fact, actually, the undercut almost worked for Infamous. He recovered quite a lot of time there. He's back into DRS range, got the toe, everything he needs again. Hyperz, should he really have pitted it up earlier than he did? Ultimately, still race lead, net race lead. Maybe not.
I don't think he cares, really, because he's proven he's got the pace to do something about it. Bottas gang left the session. Sadly, he binned it around turn 10 and 11. I picked him up facing the wrong way, and he has left the session. But there's a great scrap going on for the current race lead between Jonty, Brownie, and Ghetto has been closing in on that as well. Danny, on rather warm medium tyres, is in there. I think he's going to be rather a spectator. I doubt the Ferrari is going to really play too much havoc with the top three. I would imagine Hyperz is going to want to push a little bit now because he had, like you said earlier, he'd broken DRS to Infamous, so he has lost a little bit of time. I don't think he's not felt under pressure really all race long yet. But also, look at the gap between the racing points. That is colossal now.
Yep. It's so large. I don't know what's gone wrong with Nicolas's race pace here today, but he just is not feeling it. Again, he has just been driving the GT3s. He's not had the practice, that's for sure. But his teammate, in fairness, is absolutely smashing it. A 118.987 on hard tyres with all of this fuel on board is incredible. He's driving so fast, but Yolta's really quick as well. Look at him on the back of Nicolas. This might actually be, if he wants it to be, an overtaking opportunity, but Mode 2 on the ERS tells me he is just going to bide his time. He's just going to sit on Nicolas, but I don't think he realizes how slow Nicolas is actually being right now.
Oh, Brownie. He's pushing too hard to keep up with Jonty. But, yeah, I mean, I would think the Yelta will realize that there's quite a considerable gap. And there it is. What did we say earlier about Mr. Longue getting that? He Grosjean that one, unfortunately. That was the exit of turn 4. Oh, dear, oh, dear. Well, Yelta just need not follow suit and stay there, really. But will Yelta try and push for the top? What would essentially be the top 3? He probably would be wise not to, unless he feels he has the pace to do it. And again, I mean no disrespect, but we haven't seen him up there all season. But interesting, Infamous is doing pretty well at hanging on to the back of Hyperz. Equally, Hyperz is doing very well at being a mobile power generator at the moment. He can sell that excess ERS energy back to the national grid because he is just topped out at 100%. He just wiggled that switch a little bit to annoy Infamous, although Infamous is actually doing a fairly good job of hanging on to the back of the Mercedes. Ooh, that could get interesting. Also, it depends how quickly the top three get out of the way, if, of course, they get out of the way. They'll be good for another 5. Well, no, they're probably going to want to come in the next 2 to 3 laps, do you reckon?
On the hards? I'd be surprised if... I think they'll go to lap 20, probably about. Just and then do the remaining 15 laps on the mediums potentially. But here's the thing to think about. Now these teams obviously talk to each other a lot. You know, they're in voice comms with each other. They've got race engineers who will also communicate with them as well, let them know the gaps. But if you look at the situation right now, Hyperz is coming up to the back of his teammate, who's more than likely going to let him by, and then it's going to be down to Get Owned to then play the wingman role and kind of hold Infamous back. Then, even when Hyperz has got past that, if he catches up to the back of Yonti, then Yonti's opportunity is to do the exact same thing, but in reverse, where it's going to be block Hyperz, allow Infamous to catch up, allow Infamous to pass Hyperz, and then allow Hyperz to stay behind him quite drastically. So, you know, the team play here can really come in, especially if the race engineers have got anything to do about it.
Here comes Hyperz on Get Owned. Yeah, exactly as you said, he was not interested in that whatsoever and has jumped perfectly in front of the Haas. That was excellent coordination. I can't imagine Get Owned is going to be able to... No, I didn't think he would. I thought Get Owned would hang on to the inside line. Oh, Infamous elbows out. But yeah, that was absolutely perfectly coordinated down to the wire. Exactly as you said. What is going on further back? Dennis has gone for an explore on the exit of... Where the hell is he?
Turn 1, that was now into turn 2.
Oh, yeah, he's gone for it. But, oh, dear, is he missing bits of his wing?
I think he's missing a left end play, isn't he? Yeah, he is. That is a broken left wing.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, here is not the place you want to be losing vital bits of downforce. But equally, that's brought now Camille into DRS range at the moment. That's on the back of Get Owned, who's not in this race, realistically speaking. But if Yonti and Brownie are not particularly willing to let Hyperz go, and there's no reason why they should be, that could really help Camille get into this lead battle.
Now, I'm watching Yolta and I'm thinking he's stuck behind Nicolas for all this time. The gap is ahead of Nicolas is 4.5 seconds, but why is Yolta not passing him? He is faster. He's proving this right now, and he's, in terms of ERS, he's loving life. He could use this to close in as you watch Camille go past Get Owned quite easily. No hesitation there whatsoever, and he's now starting to work his way towards Infamous, who's 1.5 seconds up the field. Hyperz has made quick work of Brownie, and now it's Infamous' time to do the same thing, but to Brownie, and I don't think Brownie's going to let him go that easily.
Nope. I highly, highly doubt it. But you can't really make a pass there into turn 4. And Hyperz has got Yonti ahead of him. This could go so many different ways. Yonti, I suspect you're right. He's going to try and hold Hyperz as best he can. He's going to be a sitting duck by the time they get to the start finish straight anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you handle this situation?
It's so difficult. I mean, Infamous has to pass Brownie, and he has to pass him immediately because Hyperz is right there. He's still within DRS range of him, and it's about to be non-existent DRS. Well, there you go. Brownie's already outside of it. There was an invitation there for you from Brownie, but yeah, if he'd have let him go through, that would have been a problem. Brownie's gone into the pit, so now he's free anyway, and now it's going to have to be Dump City. Infamous ERS on max. Yep, he's already gone for that. Hyperz are going to be in a similar boat, and now it's down to Yonti to defend, and that's exactly what he's doing. Look, this is working wonders for Infamous, but Yonti has to hold him back, and he just cannot, as Hyperz makes a beautiful outside overtake. This kid is insane. How do you overtake like that and make it look so simple? Wow. Good job, Hyperz.
That's confidence in your car and confidence in your tyres, isn't it? So all Yonti can do now is just get Infamous back into DRS range. That's all he can do, and then just jump out of the way when Infamous is ready to pass him, because he's not going to be able to put any pressure on Hyperz unless he banzais into the back of him, which, you know, he's better than that. He's not going to do things like that. But you can't ignore the fact that Camille has gained a bit, but not enough. He would have wanted to have gained another 0.3 of a second, so he's got that DRS range. He hasn't got it yet, so it's still going to be a tricky procedure for him to do, but anything is possible. And we've lost Dennis, unfortunately, from the race. We don't know why. I don't know.
Well, he's in the pit lane. That was a retirement pit lane.
Yeah, same as Copy. Copy brought his car into the pits and called it a day. But, now this is interesting. Yes, now Camille got DRS off the back of Yonti. So that's going to help him keep in touch with Infamous, who doesn't have DRS off the back, of course, of Hyperz. So has that given Camille enough? It's given him 2/10. He needed 3. He's right on the cusp of getting DRS off the back of Infamous.
Yeah, I think he's going to get it back, honestly. I'm watching the way that Camille's driving versus the way that Infamous is driving. Camille looks so much better. He looks so much more confident in his car. I think he actually promised me that we were going to have an interview today. He promised me he was going to make it onto the top 3 and we were going to have an interview. Hyperz, that's huge. That is enormous. Hyperz has really just shot himself in the foot. He had everything laid out for him on a silver platter. And it's all gone to bits, and Yalta gets one as well.
Yeah, well, Yalta and Longa are now racing on track is what that essentially means. Again, I seem to be causing penalties to drivers I'm riding on board with. So again, I was on board, and once again, that was turn 4 where that happened. Infamous, I bet you Hyperz has gone, okay, now to use that little switch to dump the battery a bit more. Yeah. But is that then going to make him push that a little bit too hard and make more warnings? We'll see, but Camille is right there. He's very nearly. Well, he now is in.
He's got it.
He's got it. Let's go. Talk about. I mean, only one time did I see the interval go below 1 second. So he timed that almost pixel perfect to get DRS, and that's given him another 2/10. Infamous is under a lot of pressure now.
I don't think Infamous has got a response to this, honestly. He looks like he's in so much trouble. He has no answer. Camille is on fire. He's in DRS range as well. His ERS is about the same. He's actually much better now than in comparison to Infamous. Infamous is trying his best to push away. Hyperz is still on 92% ERS. Even though he's got that 3-second penalty, it's like he's banking that one of them behind is going to either do the same thing or just lose pace all of a sudden, which did happen when they were on the mediums. The mediums disintegrated for Infamous, and he just suddenly lost a huge amount of pace, and Hyperz just started to run away with this. 1.7 seconds is the gap currently, and Camille is so close. He smells blood. You know he smells blood.
He does. He smells blood in the water. Also, look at 4th. This is going to be interesting. If Ghetto doesn't get out of the way between himself and the chasing pair behind, this battle for what is going to be 4th position is going to get very spicy, because Yalta again has closed that gap back up to Longa. Now he has gotten out of the way, so that hasn't made a blown bit of difference. But even still, Yalta has managed to close that gap back up again. A little bit cautious coming through the last couple of turns, but. And Longa, of course, got DRS off the back of Ghetto. Longa is not going to have that advantage again, so Yalta may well sort of try and push on a bit more. And now the medium runners are going to start to get some decent times on the board. So again, looking at Brownie, you could make positions through the field before the checkered flag falls, because his tires are going to be pretty damn good. And I'm looking at Longa, and the tail is so loose. Pretty much everywhere he tries to put that car, it's fighting against him. It's going, nope, don't care where you want to go. I want to go this way. Well, I'll go the same direction as you. I'll just add another 20 degrees onto the steering angle you want to do. But,
exactly. It's literally Nicolas trying to be a race driver and a parent at the exact same time. And it's so difficult for him to do. 6.6 seconds off of his teammate. This is a very different Nicolas Longa today. Yalta has an opportunity to attack, and to be honest, I'm surprised and slightly disappointed he hasn't done it before now. Like, he should have just passed him and gone. Like, I know that you can wait for it now, but earlier when the gap was still pretty close, he could have just passed Nicolas, used that momentum to then help carry him forwards towards the back of Camille, and then just tried to sit on the back of Camille for as long as possible. Ultimately, if he doesn't work out, you back out, you let Nicolas back through again, and you just repeat what you're doing already. But he's basically just forced himself into a P4 only position. And I think, honestly, the only person you can really blame here is his race engineer for not giving him that information.
Hyperz is pushing that right foot a bit harder now, and he's built up 2 seconds between himself and Infamous, but Of course, he's got to be careful. He doesn't keep overcooking it. Riding on board with the race leader at the moment. He's using all available bits of track. He's not pushing it too much. Well, not yet anyway, but all it takes, like you said earlier, Raggy, it's just that split second.
Yeah, exactly. 2 seconds now is the gap between Hyperz and Infamous, and the answers seem to be very much disappearing in front of Infamous's eyes. Camille is just kind of biding his time, really. He doesn't really actually have to push now. He just sits here. He's going to get a P2 if he can just pass him later on. I don't think he... I think he realizes P1's probably a little bit too far out. It would be a bit too hard to look after your tires enough, but I don't know. It's an interesting scenario to be in right now if you're Camille. Somehow keeping yourself alive. Oh, he actually lost the tail a fair bit there. DRS wide open. He's in mode 5. He is actually in attack mode. This guy...
Whoa, Longe! Oh, sorry to go over you there, Reggie. Again, I'm riding on board with Yelta, and Longe was so close to the outside wall. I certainly looked at it from the Renault's perspective. I honestly thought he was going to ruin his suspension against it and probably soil his underpants at the same time. But
he may have done that bit anyway, you know? Who knows?
Well, could be. I mean, it would be a bit distracting. But I reckon Hyperz is biding his time. I think he's just given himself a big enough gap to know that if he makes maybe a little bit of a mistake, or as he's catching up to some... Was that the Wemmels he's catching? No, don't know. I think it might be a ghosted car he's catching up to. I think he's just given himself a bit of a cushion that if he does sort of, take his eye off the ball for that split second, he's got a bit of a cushion back. But he's keeping obviously that battery fully charged. I think he's as the ghosted car of Bottas going ahead of us. He's going to dump the battery in about, I'm going to hazard a guess, when we get to about lap 30. In the final laps of the race, he's keeping his tyres as good as he can, but maintaining around about 2 seconds. I reckon he's going to dump the battery and just go like the clappers in the final. Well, he's now picked up a nice bit of DRS off the back of the disconnected Bottas gang. Helping a little bit. There we go. Another half second nearly on Hyperz for that. So, yeah, he'll enjoy that. That's what I reckon he's doing. I think he's biding his time. He's just going to absolutely go like a scalded cat in the final 5 laps.
My only concern is if he puts his ERS into high modes and for a very short space of time, he's going to burn his tyres quite hard. When the tyre temperatures get very hot, he's running the risk of getting himself another penalty. And the last thing he wants is to throw that win in the bin. Like, he knows 6/10 right now is all he needs to do to extend. And that could just be a couple of areas where you go mode 3 for a little bit longer. We have a yellow flag. I don't see what's causing the yellow flag. Everyone seems... Oh, it was actually... Was that Buemmels? I think Buemmels... Is Buemmels DC'd for you or me?
Buemmels has been having trouble. Apparently he's 4 laps down in 16th, but he is still running out there somewhere. But he's desynced, I believe.
That sounds like normal Buemmels to me. He is actually P7, so everyone else is down 1 outside of P7.
But Hyperz has nearly got that 3 seconds, so you may well have decided to wiggle it. Yeah, there you go. ERS all the way up. He's going to dump the battery down the start-finish straight. I think he's just going to keep on doing this. Maybe he wants to. Maybe he'll build up that gap a little bit more than 3 seconds. But of course, Infamous hasn't got anyone to DRS off of. Whoa, come on. Blimey, Camille. There must be something about the racing points. They are set up. Were they set up by Ken Block or something? Because they're both sliding around like nutters. Yeah, Yelta, I'm beginning to wonder whether he doesn't actually have an answer to Longe. I'm actually beginning to wonder whether he just doesn't quite have... He's got the pace to stay there, but just not quite that extra bit he needs to get past him.
I don't believe... I want to believe that he has the pace. I want to believe that he can just send it past him without any issues, especially with DRS and ERS being so readily available. I think he's just waiting for that final push to go for it, you know? But Hyperz is... Yeah, like you said, doing the right thing. He's breaking up to that 3... He's just under it again now in that 3-second margin. He seems to have been able to deploy it correctly. He's now back over again, which is great for him. But I'm looking around, and I'm now starting to get concerned for those that are around about the mid-pack. Like Panpernick, Brownie, Yonti, for example. These guys, Brownie and Yonti's great. They've got the medium tyres, and they're feeling pretty comfortable. But they're now about to start dropping off in the next few laps and become on par with these hards. So they're not really going to be able to close any distance. It makes you wonder, did you actually gain anything by doing this strategy? Where was the benefit?
I just had a funny moment on my screen. Boemel's literally snowplowed straight through Boemel's. So I was like, "Move, get out the way!" Yeah, that was quite amusing for me. But yeah, Yonta, yes, he looks like he's sizing up. Brownie, I thought he was going to ying that one on the inside of turn 1, but no, he's staying quite happily in the slipstream of the Renault ahead of him.
Well, he has to now. Look at his ERS, 11% before the braking zone for the left-hander here. Like, this is a major issue for him.
Yeah, this is why I think Yelta is actually struggling to get the extra pace he needs, because he's having to use his ERS to keep up with Longue, who doesn't have DRS. So, of course, the Renault does, the Racing Point doesn't. I think Yelta's just using everything he can to stay in touch with... Whoa, Longue goes wide again. He's pushing too hard. He's going to be racking up those warnings again. If Yelta's trying to force Longue into a mistake, he's going the right way about it.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's only a matter of time, I think, before Nicolas gets himself another penalty. But I do need to inform you all that Driver of the Day votes have been opened. So do ! Vote in the chat. Vote for your Driver of the Day, and we'll announce it later on at the end of the race. But right now, if I was to put any money on anybody for Driver of the Day, it's a tie, in my opinion, between Camille and Hyperz. Camille has shown raw pace in his debut race. Has he done anything more than that? We'll see whether or not he can pass Infamous or not. I think if he gets P2, I'll give it to Camille. If Hyperz stays where he is... Oh, it's just that one penalty that's throwing me off, though. I don't know if I want to pick him for that one penalty he's got, you know?
They slammed on Camille for me. And it's... Don't get me wrong, Hyperz has done a blistering race. Absolutely.
Oh, there it is.
Called it. Yelta, just sit still. He's right with Longue as well. If you had the opportunity to pass Nicolas Longue, of all people, wouldn't you take it? Damn
absolutely.
Right you would. Damn right you would. But yeah, Camille has been, he's gotten his elbows. He's not been shy to get his elbows out when he needs to. He's obviously a newcomer to these parts. Clearly not a newcomer to the racing at all. Hyperz has done brilliant. He's done exactly what he needs to, but it's just that one penalty, that tiny ragged edge that is just giving it to... But I mean, we're talking mere amounts as far as who's going to get it. If Hyperz hadn't have got that penalty, I probably would have gone Hyperz. But for me, it's Camille. He's done such a brilliant job. But that set the bar real high, my friend. Let's hope you can keep hitting that standard.
I mean, look at his ERS right now in comparison to Infamous. Infamous has pretty much nothing. He's 32% in. Almost triple that for Camille. Like, this is so good for him right now. This is so good for Racing Point in that chase to get Mercedes back again. Although that will just throw it all away. Now you have to pass, and now you have to build a huge gap, which right now is not going to happen.
Yeah, has Infamous avoided the penalty so far? Let me just double check.
We're getting blamed for the penalty on Camille there. I think, we'll have that, yeah. We pointed the finger, and it backfired.
Yeah, but Infamous has got to be careful, because he only just avoided a penalty there on the exit of 11. But yeah, he's on 2 warnings. So Infamous could well undo the hard work, and still that gap between himself and Hyperz is tantalizingly close. So Hyperz has got it so far, but one mistake is all it's going to be.
Yeah,
I'm still giving Driver of the Day to Camille, mainly because I didn't know what he was going to be like. Hello. That's a statement of intent. My goodness me.
That was a message. That was a very clear message to Infamous. I am absolutely coming for your backside. You better get a move on, sir, because I'm not going to let you keep P2 no matter what. Now I know I have a penalty. I'm running for it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was. I need to get on with this. Whoa, Infamous! Big tank slapper on the 8-4.
It just feels like this is a matter of time for Infamous now before he gets a penalty.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Exactly. And the thing to think about is that Camille had a chance to take the whole win here. Remember, Hyperz had the penalty before Camille did. Camille only needs to just keep it consistent enough, just stay on the back of Infamous, and eventually at the last second just go bam, slap right past him, and then stay within the 3-second range of Hyperz. Jobs are good, and you've got that. You've got that gap, you've got the win, and in your debut race for the Rwagnation League, imagine getting 25 points in your pocket. That would really lay down the law to these drivers and show I'm actually alpha here. You better watch out.
We will see. Hyperz has not picked up another warning since his penalty. So, how does he do it? How does he do it?
I don't know. He's a machine, clearly. Has to be. Is Camille going for the move?
I thought he was going to then. I thought he was going to, but opted not to. The infamous. Well, he probably.
Oh, please, no, don't do this to me. My heartstrings can't take it. That was such an attempt at trying to send it down the inside. Unfortunately, there was no gap as Infamous saw that coming. Very well read from him. But this is going to be literally, he's going to just yeet it at some point, surely.
He has to. Infamous is too experienced to be bullied off the line like that. You know, lesser experienced drivers would panic at the sight of, Camille. You kind of compromised your line there, Camille. But he's got himself right under the rear wing of the Haas. You know, Infamous does not have an answer to this. He really doesn't. Now, Infamous will do one of the two things. He'll either just admit defeat. I mean, he may not have a choice about this. Or he's going to defend like an absolute champion down that start finish. I can't see how he will. I can't see how he can.
It's going to be really, really hard, but I don't know, Infamous just seems to be getting the better exits out of the two, although this is the closest we've seen them be for quite a while in this race. Just trying to get a penalty. DRS wing wide open now for Camille. He's already lined up with everything on high attack mode. It's going to have to be a flick, and he's going for the flick. It's in the inside. It's got to be a touch, surely. It was almost a kiss. DRS wing wide open again for Camille, but again, Infamous gets the exit of dreams, and Camille's going to have to stay alongside of him the whole way around. He cannot afford not to. If he can sit there, he will get the position. I think he's done it. Yes, Infamous has to back out, and Camille steps up in a P2. Well done.
Coming through and nearly bins it into turn 4. Nearly does a full Grosjean into there. Oh, well played, sir. But what can he do now? Can he do anything against Hyperz? Of course, that's cost them time. Yeah, it's now 4.7 seconds, and that, my goodness, that racing point is ragged, absolutely on edge. If that was a roller coaster ride, I'd have barfed over the side of it. It is absolutely insane. I mean, bucking Broncos are easier to ride than that thing looks to drive. So Hyperz just needs to sit there now. He's got 4.8 seconds, 4 laps to go. Unless he bounces off the wall somewhere and loses a fair chunk of the front wing, there's nothing he need worry about now. But Camille, oh man. If he gets shuffled down to... And Infamous will know he just has to sit there. But, I think Infamous will probably just take the safer option of just bring it home, don't get that last warning, because he's on 2 warnings, but no penalty so far. He just needs to sit there and ensure he doesn't lose a second a lap.
Now, Infamous is really quite quickly taking the Captain Consistency award, for being able to keep the car out of penalties. That is actually quite a massive achievement, really, especially on a track like this, especially when you're being pressured so hard by the likes of Camille, and now you got pressured to stay with him so that you don't just break outside of that gap that he needs to hold. I mean, it's 3 laps to do it. As long as he doesn't lose a second a lap, he's pretty much secure for a P2. The what could have been if he'd have been able to just stay with Hyperz, even with that penalty, just stay in that 3-second range. But as soon as he got outside of DRS, it was done. There was nothing else he could achieve, and Camille really showing that if you had any doubts as to who your driver of the day is going to be, he's just pretty much just cemented that. So don't forget, exclamation mark vote in the chat, get the link clicked, go and fill it out, submit it, and we will find out exactly who's going to win that driver of the day vote later on at the end of the race. Well then, 3 to go. Sky Bajini just reminds us he's still with us with the penalty on the board. Again, keeping an eye on Yelta. He doesn't need to do anything to overhaul Longuet, and he'll know that. And I don't think I think he's just... I'm sticking to my original hypothesis. I think he's just working absolutely flat out to stay in touch with Longuet, because Longuet hasn't had... Whoa! He may not have had DRS, but my God, did he have a tank slapper there. And that's what his race has been like all night. It has just been fighting with the car. He may be smiling his head off. This would explain, if he's got no downforce on the car, which is nuts for Hungarian as far as I'm concerned, that would explain why his car is just determined to kill him, but equally why Yelta can't get past it, because
quick in the one place that he needs to be overtaken, which is down the start-finish straight.
I honestly think it's just purely that he's come out of the GT3s and gone into these F1 cars. Because the throttle difference is just enormous. You literally can't apply anywhere near the amount of throttle as early as you can in the GT3s. And so obviously if he's driving this F1 car, and it will bite you. You know, there's no assists here. They will struggle to keep the back end in check if he pushed down the accelerator just a bit too much. Remember, it's the last chance to get your vote in for the driver of the day. Click it. Don't miss your chance to get it in. Infamous, though, he's definitely got to be a close runner-up for P2 on the driver of the day board, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely he is. You know, he's done everything he could. Didn't quite have the pace of Hyperz and defended so hard for so long against... And exactly as you were saying earlier, is this track is hard enough to deal with without somebody right in your mirrors for lap on lap on lap on lap on lap. And, you know, and Infamous is kept off the penalty board, which is very, very impressive at a track like... Well, most tracks is actually quite impressive considering how hard you have to push. You know, the fine margins these guys have to deal with to get the very best lap times. Ooh, wow, and he just had a big wiggle there as I was watching him coming through turn 11, I think. That was, yeah, out of 11, he got very, very squiggly.
Yep.
So, yeah, absolute full respect. And Yelter as well, to sit right in the tyre tracks of someone like Nicolas Longe. Okay, he's been off the pace by his own standards, but that's still a very, very high standard, let's not forget.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually quite sad for Yelter that he could really have actually done it a lot earlier if he'd been actually just gone for the move as soon as he possibly could. And just pass Nicolas and just see what happens. You know, you pass him and you keep it, great. You pass him and you don't keep it, not a problem. You just do what you're doing already. You know what I mean? You're not losing anything by doing this. The only thing to worry about is your tyre wear, your tyre temps, and that's it. But that can easily be re-maintained once you get back into that DRS range and you just slot back into where you were before. Now, Infamous has turned the wick up. We are on the final lap, remember, so Hyperz, who's 5.3 seconds up the road, you know, he's quite the way up. And if you look at the map on the right-hand side, you can see the gaps that have formed. You've got P1, who's just clearly on a whole nother level. Then you've got Camille, who's P2, leading ahead of Infamous. Despite the fact he has a penalty, he will lose that position back down to P3, unless Infamous gets his own. That's the only way Camille will lose P2. And then you see after that, Nicolas, 12.7 seconds down the field. He is so far back. But we have to go to our race leader because he has one corner to go. He has been flawless in his execution, bar one penalty. That was all it was, and he completely changed it for him. But he will take the 25 points. Did he get the fastest lap, though? I don't think he did, because the medium runners, no, he did not. That will go to Yonti. Infamous will jump and get P2 as Camille sends his car into the wall. And Nicolas eventually will make it to the line to secure a P4. But he has been fighting that car very hard, and he's going to drop like a stone. There's one place. There's two places. I think that will only be two that he loses. Yes, oh, Yonti. He jumps two places as well, up in a P6. Very well done from him then. That was a very good race from Yonti to achieve a P6. But Nicolas Longe, outside of those points, Racing Point will still gain on Mercedes overall, I think. But they won't gain on Haas.
So what, Merc get 25 because Ghetto finished outside of the points. It'll be 15. No, because it'll be 15 plus
6.
15 plus 6. So no, they won't gain.
No, not at all. That is a shame then. But I mean, Racing Point helps to bridge that gap a little bit in that you know it wasn't as bad as it was about to be had Camille not attended this race. You know, imagine if it was just Nicolas there on his own, that would have been tragedy.
I was just stunned by how well Camille's done in the debut race. Oh my goodness me, fellow countrymen to Hyperz. Well, he's judging by the flags over the heads, but you cannot say that Hyperz didn't deserve the win. That was just
No, absolutely. I have heard though the driver of the day in the Twitch chat is Dennis. He takes, even though he DNF'd the race, he is the Twitch chat driver of the day. However, from our perspective, are you going with Hyperz still?
I was going Camille.
Are you going to go with Camille?
I'm sticking with Camille, yeah.
Okay. I'm actually going to go Hyperz. I mean, he started P1, but he had pretty much a flawless race. He was on a whole different level. You know, Hyperz really demonstrated how good he can be, how good he will be, and, you know, this is his best track, so I was expecting him to get that win. It's next week where we're going to see things get very difficult. When it comes to Belgium, are we going to see them struggle, or are we going to see them keep it together? But that's it for the Rwagnation League, but don't go anywhere. We're going to get here from the top 3 drivers in just a moment. And then after this, we're going to be going back to the 24-hour Notch Life there. So sit tight. Let's get one in here. Let's start with Camille, shall we? Let's get Camille in here. Where is he? Camille, there you go. I see you. Camille.
Hello.
Hello. P3 in your debut race in the Rwagnation League. You said to me before we started this race that you was going to be here in the interview and you're going to tell me how to pronounce your surname. So let's have it.
CLG Common.
Okay. I'll remember that. Now, let's talk about your qualifying first off. It was a rocky start initially, invalidated a couple of laps, and then you chucked in an absolutely beautiful lap. Were you feeling confident the whole time, or were you a bit worried?
My first lap in qualifying on mediums was nice, but I invalidated. I expect second lap much better, but I make a big mistake, almost spin, and I lose a couple of times.
And then you come into... Go on.
I'm not happy with this lap.
But, I mean, it secured you a high enough position to be able to go into the race and start feeling confident. So you come into the race, you started in a pretty solid position, and then you started getting attacked by your teammate. He ended up passing you, and then something went wrong for him. And then you started getting aggressive again. You took a beautiful, and as Mr. Kodiak put it, you mugged Nicolas Longue so hard for that position. Did it feel good doing that overtake on your teammate?
It was like he said me go, so I go.
Okay. And then only one mistake I can really point out for you was that one penalty you received.
Yeah, this corner. I was struggling with this corner. Sometimes I was going wide, sometimes I was cutting. I had really nice like 15 laps or 20 without warning. So I was hoping for no penalty days, but I was like very close to Infamous, and I was pushing as much as I can to get his DLS, but I can't.
Well, next week is Belgium. Is that a track that you are pretty good at?
In air I wasn't driving here, so I don't know my pace, but I like this track, but I don't feel fast here.
That's not the confidence I was hoping for. I was hoping for, yes, I'm absolutely going to get P1. I'm going to put Hyperz in the bin was kind of what I was hoping for. But we'll take it. All right. Well, where's your prediction for next week? Where do you think you finish?
P3.
All right, well, that's confident enough. I'll take that. I'm happy with that. No, but seriously, congratulations on your P3, your podium in your debut race here in the Rwagnation League. Very well done on securing those points for your team. Look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you very much for joining us in the interview.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. All right, let's get the second place man, Mr. Infamous. He already has the role, and here he is. Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, man. How are you?
I'm all right. A bit of an upsy-downsy race for you, wasn't it? I mean, your qualifying was pretty quick. Your race was strange. You got on the mediums, you had pace, you was keeping it with Hyperz, and then it came towards the end of your stint, and something just went wrong.
Yeah, I think qualifying, as you said, was pretty good. On my first lap, I lost, over a couple of tenths in the last sector, so it would have been pretty close for pole if I could put a lap together, but it wasn't to be. And then, yeah, I had good pace, but towards the end of stints, my tyres were really struggling with the dirty air and that, and I was losing a lot of time in Sector 3 especially, not being able to rotate the car as nicely as Camille and Hyperz. So, yeah, that was the story of the race, really.
Now, your consistency in the race was really quite solid. I mean, you didn't get a single penalty, and ultimately that helped you to get the P2 that you needed. Any regrets in that race? Anything that you think you could have worked on better?
From my side, I could have worked on the setup for a bit longer, but as in driving, I don't regret anything, me and Yonti, Team Haas, were the only ones not to get a penalty. So I'll take
That's
that
true.
as a mini win. And I, just played it really cautiously after I got held up by Bottasgang's lag car. I could just see the win was gone after that. So I was just focused on Camille and made sure I didn't get a pen. So I pick up P2 in whichever way I needed to.
Now, going to, like you were saying about the constructors, obviously Haas are currently P2. That gap has just been shortened a little bit in the fact that Hyperz obviously gets the win, but you both got some really solid points positions to go with you, which is going to help you. Do you think that coming into Spa, you're going to be able to repeat that and going to be able to break that gap down even more?
You always hope so, and hopefully Hyperz isn't as OP around Spa as he is Hungary. And I like Spa myself, so yeah, let's see what we can do.
All right, I need a prediction from you. Prediction for next week's race.
Well, I mean, I can't not put myself on the top step. Because,
all right, I'll take it.
Just got to be confident.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a dodgy race with plenty of incidents and plenty of weather getting involved as it's Spa. So I'll put like one of the Renaults on the podium, and I'll put Hyperz on there as well.
I'll think about putting him up there somewhere.
Begrudgingly.
I was just about to say that sounded like through gritted teeth.
No. I know he doesn't like me, but fair play to him. He drove really well today, so he's always going to be up there. And so is Nicolas. You can never discount him when he can be bothered to play.
yeah. In fairness, I've defended him a fair bit today. He has obviously just been driving the Nordschleife in GT3s.
I did realise he's had other stuff going on, but
yeah. I mean, the cars are just completely different. I didn't touch F1 right now for that exact reason.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, congratulations on P2. You've done a very good job again. Looking forward to seeing what you can deliver next week, and I'm going to hold you to your P1 prediction.
Catch you later.
All right, take care. Thank you. Well, the happy man, as we know he's going to be, we're going to bring him in here right now. Veloce Hyperz, how are you feeling after that race?
I'm pretty happy, to be honest. I mean, this is my best track by far on this game, and not gonna lie, I would be a bit disappointed if I didn't get the win today. Yeah, first stint was pretty much all about trying to break the DRS. I managed to do that at the end, but I got undercut massively, so all the work was undone. So I had to break the DRS again. Then Bottas gang helped me a little bit by holding up the cars behind by like 6 further tenths or something like that. But overall, it was just a clean race, and I think this was the most controlled win I've had so far. Pretty much, I was controlling the pace, and I'm quite happy about it because I really struggled to do that in the last few races. And overall, a pretty good race. Another poor result from Nicolas means I extended championship lead, which is also great to see. And I'm hoping to keep this form going.
Now, it's a good start. Obviously, you're now into the second half of the calendar going into next week. Belgium is up. How's your pace looking?
Yeah, Belgium is qualifying pace. My qualifying pace there is nowhere, and my race pace is also nowhere. To be honest, until Singapore, I don't have like a particular good track now, so I'll definitely struggle. But I'm definitely hoping for the DRS to kind of save me and maybe try to stay in the slipstream, take advantage of some mistakes, and yeah.
Good. No, that's really positive. Obviously, focusing on those races onwards, but this is going to allow Nicolas to close in again. This is also going to allow Infamous to do the same. And now that Haas have actually scored some really solid points today, they're actually helping themselves closer towards the Mercedes gap. Granted, you do have a hell of a gap, but they are bringing it back. Racing Point also, you got to be a bit nervous about the constructors.
Yeah, definitely. Constructors are now, I think, the main target. Me and Geron need to focus now. I think both Belgium and Italy are going to be places where we'll try to nail the slipstream, so we get as high up the grid as possible. And yeah, definitely we have some advantage right now. So we have basically a bit of a breathing space between us in the standings. However, they're definitely going to close down. So the second half of the season, the main focus will be definitely to keep the lead. Of course, Racing Point has now Nicolas Longuet and another split one driver, which is pretty much the best team on the grid right now. Has also 2 very quick drivers. They are very consistent in the way they score points. So yeah, it's definitely not gonna be easy, but I feel like with the solid teamwork and and lots of practice, we can keep this lead, and we will do everything to do so.
Good. Well, I want a finishing position prediction for next race.
Mine or
Yours.
Or mine. I wouldn't. Between P1 and P4, I would say, but where exactly, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll just see. I'll see how the race goes. As I said, Belgium is by no means my good track. Never really felt confident around there, but we will see. We will see.
Well, congratulations again on reaching your P1 victory here in Hungary. I kind of was expecting it. And you got my driver of the day vote, but you didn't get King Kodiak, so you don't get it. Sorry, mate.
Oh,
It was a
I'm
pleasure.
not angry. I'm just disappointed. All right.
Well, you can take it out on the track next week when you're back on Belgium, all right?
You're a victim of your own success there, Hyperz.
If you didn't have the penalty, you would have been driver of the day.
I got like 2 warnings within 2 laps, so basically that was like I was getting warnings left, right, and center, and I realized, okay, I need to stop. So,
well, thank you for joining us.
That was you slowing down, dear God, man. That is scary.
On that track, at least.
On that track, that's true.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining us in the commentary area, and I appreciate the interview. Have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your 24-hour, and I hope you all the success.
thank you. Thank you.
And that's it for the Rwagnation League Grand Prix in Hungary. That has been a beautiful race, I think. I mean, the gaps were quite extensive. I think in some areas there was a lot of battling, regardless. And I think the top 3 was such a weird scenario. P1 so far up the field, P2 being hunted, and then passing, and then having to get it back on penalties.
That's the joy of racing, isn't it?
It is.
It really is never decided until that checkered flag falls, until the last car is over the line after the checkered flag falls in a lot of cases.
But thank you as always, Mr. Kodiak, for commentating alongside me. You are incredible, and I thoroughly appreciate you, and I hope that your PC continues to work fine from this one forward.